Hi, Saundra here, and I'm back with another process video. Today's layout is the last in my video series, Gone to the Beach. So let's get started. First, I'm going to cut out this part of the photo, and it'll be about oh so big, and place it on top of the photo above. Then I want to trim down the sides of that photo just a little bit more. And on the other photo, I want to center my husband and my daughter. I'm using At the Beach paper from Paper House. The page on the left is from is actually the same as the first page in the video series. And I'm taking that cheesecloth using some stiffener, and I want to use that as one of my layers underneath. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to show you what I think I'm going to do with the layout, what's in my head at the moment. I want to use that button to help cover up that design that's on a layout. I have a title from Creative Memories that will be my title on the right page. That beautiful lighthouse I've been trying to stick around in this layout series, but I haven't found a place, but I think I just did. So this is the plan so far of what I think I'm going to do, and I'll use the Seashore pages that I showed you earlier, that 6x6 pad, to do my layering. The first thing I want to do is stiffen up this cheesecloth, and just let it dry on its own. I want to I want it to kind of remind me of a fisherman's net. And it's real easy to do this. This is actually my first time using a stiffener. And I thought it would be neat to try and see if it would work out that way. And you probably don't need to use as much as I'm going to use here, but I really wanted it to be nice and stiff because I plan on staining it with some Tim Holtz stain. So I didn't want, if I put something wet on it, I wasn't sure how it would react. So I put a lot of this stiffener on it. And it worked out pretty well. And I added more at the very end and reshaped it once more, um, just to get it more so to where I wanted to be, because I could feel it was a little tacky. And since I'm not used to using this, I wasn't sure how far I would go with it. But once it was in place, I just added a little bit more here and there. And next I'm doing the cropping of my photos. And this was another fun layout. I think I say that all the time. I just like scrapbooking, so it's always fun. That's my Creative Memories square punch, which I've had for a long time, and it's still working years and years later. And that looks too cute. I'm liking it so far. I'm going to mat all the photos, including the tiny little square. At first I thought, when I was thinking of this layout, just to attach it to it like it is now. But once I chose papers and a few embellishments, I thought differently. Let's just mat that too, so it'll kind of pop up and stand on its own as always. I'm using this dark blue paper to mat all the photos. And at this point, I'm still thinking of using the 6x6 Seashore paper, but I don't know what happens when I finish matting the photos, because it just changed everything. And I always say, scrapbooking, once you start doing your layout, it takes you wherever it takes you. And that is so true to what happened here. Even though I feel like I stick with pretty much the design of what I wanted to do, once I did this part, look what happens. It's like, oh no, that's not what you said you would do, and it's not. I decided to go with red, white, and blue. It's not the 4th of July or anything like that, but I don't know. It just seemed more like a nice way to end the series, to put a bit more, that little pop of red, white, and blue. You're at the beach. It's kind of Cape Cod-ish looking to me. Um, I don't know. It just looks like red, white, and blue. Anyway, so once I did that, everything else changed because I no longer wanted to use the Seashore paper. So I grabbed some scraps and started fooling with it. And that map paper is from Tim Holtz. And I really like it because it kind of goes with the whole theme of how big is your world. And my daughter, as a young adult, loves to travel. So this was fun doing. Painting the very stiff, as you can see, it's very stiff cheesecloth. And my biggest concern here was I would start to put the stain on it and maybe it would soften it. I've never used stiffener before, so I wasn't sure exactly what would happen here. And it remained nice and stiff and, hard. I could cut it and just work with it. And I should have probably gone to online and researched it or whatever. I didn't do that, but it turned out just fine. And the two colors that I used really blended together because it makes it look very much like an old net. And the blue is from Hedi Swapp. So it has a little, I don't want to say glitter, but it does. And when I was watching the video back, doing the voiceover, I thought, why did I take that wet uh, cheesecloth and put it over top of my photo? Because I can be a little clumsy sometimes, but it didn't drip or, nothing happened. And it turned out absolutely beautiful. A part of me wanted to keep it whole and shrink the photos down and just have this surrounding the photos, but I thought, no, that's not exactly what's in my head. I didn't want to change the layout that much, but it looks pretty good. And I really like the colors. I just started staining some wood objects because I thought of sticking them here and there on the layout. I don't think I originally pulled them. After I did the net, I thought about adding in just a few more items. And the red came out a little bit too red. I'm going to end up using a whitewash on that, and it works out perfectly. So I don't know if you can call what I'm doing here layering, but basically I'm just covering up um, the sign that's already on the background paper. And I just chose a bunch of papers from my scraps, things left over in this layout series. Some things are from the 6x6 package of paper from the Seashore. And I thought it would be cute to put the little wooden girl inside the lighthouse because it has this tiny little opening, and it when I stuck it in there, it just pops up nice and gives it a little bit of color right there. It came out nice. And that's my favorite piece here. And it was neat doing the playing with the cheesecloth and the stiffener, because you can shape it just any way you want practically, and get exactly. In this case, I think I got more than what I expected I would get for this layout. So as I look at this now and I think about what triggered the change, why didn't I stick with having the layering start up in the top left hand corner and drizzle down toward the lighthouse? And I know that once I put the mat on, the red, white, and blue mat, that really changed everything because I looked at the photo and I saw it a little I saw it differently, and I don't know. My tongue's a little tied. I, I think the idea changed. The original idea just starts to change, and I don't know if I can find the right words for it or not. But it's like whenever you're doing something that's creative, you kind of, if you can, go with the flow of what it is you're feeling inside. And I know scrapbooking isn't rocket science or, you know, may not be anything large on that scale. But when you're a scrapbooker and when you're doing it, I think most people, and when I talk to people, they have an idea. They have like a vision in their head of where they feel their layout is going. And this just took a little bit of a turn in a different direction. Uh, Originally, for the right side of this layout, I wanted very little on it. I was thinking of maybe just leaving the balloon, my little sign, just me and my dad, and the photo, and not really putting anything else on there. Maybe a brat or something. But I love that picture of my husband and my daughter and how they're looking out into the ocean. And when I was there and I saw them, I came up behind them really slowly because I didn't want to take that moment away from them, but I really wanted the picture. And I kind of went around other people who had found their way to the beach by this time so that they wouldn't see me with their peripheral vision. And every time I look at that picture, I feel that moment. So putting a lot of um, layers or embellishments on that page might take away from feeling that moment that I saw on that particular day of my husband and my daughter. Um, anyway, and that's another thing. I think when I'm scrapbooking and I'm thinking of the picture and telling the story of the picture, what's in the picture, I don't want it to be too much of a distraction of uh, the, the the decorating of the page, the layout, to get so busy with the creating that I don't really tell the story. Does that make any sense? Anyway, the button that now looks like my husband's tummy, which it doesn't look like that. His tummy is actually flat, but um, it's just not looking right. It's looking like a head on his stomach or something, and it's beginning um, to bother me. So I was thinking I could just take the button and put a few layers underneath it and lift it, or take maybe some of um, the cheesecloth and put underneath it. But I'm thinking of a way to break that up from the picture because it's not flowing very well together. I was a little nervous to cut this too, but at the same time, once I started cutting it, I thought, boy, this is fun. You can do all sorts of things with this cheesecloth. And yes, I'm rambling on today. I get like that sometimes. Anyway, I like the different shades of blue that I end up adding to the layout. Um, and I didn't want to cover up, of course, the paper. It's beautiful paper, but at the same time, I wanted to have a little fun with embellishments and anything else I felt like doing here. And it may not look like it, but I am truly committed to what I'm doing here. No, I really am. sometimes it takes me a while to like put it all down. I think I'm, overthinking. So maybe the more I do this, and it's because I'm definitely scrapbooking more than I have been, much more. If I'm doing 4 videos a week, which is my goal, um, I'm definitely, it's 4 layouts that I wouldn't normally do. And in many cases, it's double layouts. So with a lot of practice here, I'll get better at this. Get better at putting it down and being committed. It's one thing when you're, scrapbooking and you're not on camera and you're just relaxed and you're not really thinking about anything but scrapbooking. Now I think a little bit about, I need to make sure I'm not hitting my head or hitting the camera with my head, or, do I have enough lighting? Am I still in focus? So there's a lot of other things running on in my head while I'm doing this, which is amazing for me. Because I don't like all that stuff in my head. But I'm getting used to it. I really like the paper with the wave. And I turned it on its side, mainly because I like the way the light looks going across the top of the page versus when it's just on its regular side, and the way it's supposed to be, I suppose. And I do like the way it just plays with the page, with the water going down, the wave going down. It helps bring your eye over to that side of the page. So a lot of the things that sometimes people choose when they're scrapbooking, when you're laying things down, it's how do you want the eye to go across your page, or what's the focal point of your page? And the picture, of course, is the focal point, but at the same time, you want the whole page to kind of flow together, and things not to be missed, because you're not putting all those embellishments down and cutting all those papers. I hit my head on the camera. Sorry about that. So I was trying to keep it still. But anyway, you want all the embellishments there. You're putting them there for a reason. You like the embellishments. I like them. I over like them sometimes, but and you don't want your photo to be distracted by it. And I think that's why sometimes we choose different colors to help break things up. And yes, I am rambling. I think I had too much coffee today. I am almost at the home stretch for this page, and then I'll work on its sister page. I really like this Lighthouse. It's very, very, very sticky, which is a good thing because it's not going to go anywhere once I put it down. So I'm just making sure it goes where I want it to go. I think these little seagulls are just way too cute. They're catching the wave there. I like how this ends up coming together, and how you can change just a few things. Like, when you start moving things around a little bit when you're at the end of your layout, and you want to make sure this is where you want it before you put it down forever. It's kind of neat to see what the original idea was and then how it changes. So I don't think I can call what I did up top layering, maybe covering up. But it layers over each other a little bit, I guess. It depends upon your definition of layering. This page definitely took up the majority of the time for this 2-page layout, mainly because it has more to it. And it was really easy putting down the cheesecloth. that glue held it down very easily. I was pretty surprised. And I'm using some fun foam underneath my photo because with the net underneath it, the cheesecloth, it lifts up the bottom but not the top, so I had to make some sort of adjustment so it wasn't crooked. The photo wouldn't be crooked, that is. Somehow I've managed to find some neat little things that I could add in to this layout in that the Seashore paper. That little the little boat and the little seahorse were both in there, and so I cut that out, and it looks so cute there. Sometimes when I'm looking for an embellishment and I can't find what I think I want or I need something, if I look at some of the paper in the cardstock, sometimes there's something in there that I can cut out and use to work like an embellishment. Usually I don't run out of embellishments though. Even though I haven't been going out and getting more, I'm trying not to. It's been really hard not to add to my stash of trying to stick to doing this for 6 months and cleaning things out. So we'll see what happens. But I have to go into Michael's this week, so I don't know. Something might call my name. And I used fun foam also underneath the boat for the same reason. When I put part of the picture on top of the cheesecloth, it made the boat crooked. So I just wanted to straighten it out. I'm not putting it at the bottom on the photo because it's actually sitting on top of the cheesecloth and it'll be just fine. And here I'm trying to use my branding strips. I like the branding strips because it's just, if you, like in this particular case, I only needed something small. And look at that, what happened with the button. It moved over. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm thinking, but I know I like it. Anyway, the branding strips are small little strips that come on the paper, and they have a little bit of the design from the papers on there, or the opposite page design. And it's kind of neat because you can use those as fillers, and it works out so good. I like the button there much better. It seems like when I saw it there, it's like, okay, I can finish this. And I think the little photo looks nicer off the picture now than the way I originally was going to do it. I think it gave too much weight once I put the mat on it to leave it on the photo, the larger photo. I think if I left the smaller photo on top of the larger photo, it would have been more of a distraction um, because it just didn't fit the same. Anyway, so the plan's coming together here. Everything's going down. When I look at the photos that are in these two layouts, both of them bring back really strong memories of being at the beach that particular day. And I don't know why sometimes I look at some photos and the memory or the feelings are stronger, but I just remember watching Raphael and Isabella run all over the beach together and how attentive he is to her, and just how small and she seemed next to him. And when they're sitting down in the chair looking out at the ocean and they're chit-chatting, they're having that father-daughter moment, and I got that picture. For the longest period of time, I just didn't want to do anything with the picture. I didn't want to scrapbook it. I didn't want to I just kept it and maybe put it in a frame, but nothing else, because I liked it so much. And it's like one of those pictures that you take that you don't want to lose, that you don't want to be lost in whatever becomes of it. I didn't want it to stay inside of a box forever either. And that's another thing, like with scrapbooking, the more you pull out your pictures and you start looking at them and you have those emotional connections to your pictures, it's kind of hard to just have them sit in a box. And you can even put them in an album and not decorate it, just to be able to see them and to look at them and enjoy them again. So I have started working on this sister page, and I put a little Brad beside the photo. It's small, it's tiny, and not overwhelming. But I changed my mind about layering or adding or keeping this totally clean, this page. I decided to put the extra pieces of cheesecloth here because I felt like it needed a little something. Even though, and I'm trying to keep it clean, try not to have anything overtake the photos here. But I felt like I wanted to give it it needed something, a little more color, a little bit of a lift. Something was missing, and this ended up working out pretty well. And I didn't have that desire to bring, like a lot of times when I do a 2-page layout, I want something from each page on the opposite side. That wasn't very important to me, first of all, because the paper itself brings the 2 pages together, and the pictures and the mat. So it really didn't need it didn't need anything, really, anything more than just this little bit of cheesecloth. And I got to use my compass. When Isabella was about this age, her dad gave her a compass, and she used to keep it on the dashboard of the car so she knew which way we were going all the time. I really like that fun foam stuff. It really gives everything a nice lift and real easy to put on. So those finishing touches are going down, and we're almost done here. And at the end of this video, I think in my first video in this series, I said that I would show you what I'm doing with my extra photos from like this video series that I just can't throw away. So it takes about a minute, and it'll come after the stills. And I did put a little journaling card on there. I think it just definitely needed that. So my button came up, it came off. So I used the fun foam to prop it up a little bit and put the hot glue on the fun foam. And this time it went down and it did not move for anything. So the metal of the button didn't stick very well to the glue and the paper. Anyway, we are finished here. Thank you again so much for joining me. Stick around for seeing what I do with my photos that I don't use. And I hope I get to see you next time. And before you run off, I have all 4 pages of the layout in this video series, how they'll be, in the order they'll be in the photo album. So this is page 1, and so on. And they look pretty good together. Different, but good. Anyway, have an awesome day. See you next time. So my extra layout photos, in this case, they're duplicates, which I, for some reason, don't want to part with. Normally, I would just use a an envelope that's photo safe, but I didn't have one handy, so I took a photo safe bag that I already had, and I cut it down to size. And I'm putting my photos in there. I'm just going to write the year that this was from, and in this case, which layout it goes to. In the back of the album that this layout goes in, this will also go. It'll be like in a tab at the very end, any photos that I really want to keep, extra photos or things I did in Scrapbook, whatever the case may be. It goes in here just like this. And it becomes a page itself, and it'll fit into my Scrapbook. You can also do, maybe put 2 or 3 on one page and just date beside it, and you're good to go.